Hey all, here OS Reviews. Several months back we did a review on the Mifo O5, which still remains one of my favorite TWS wireless earbuds for under $80. The construction quality feels super premium with its all aluminum build. The battery capacity at 2600 mAh actually lasts for over 100 hours, and transparency audio mode, which are touches that many of the competition lack at a relatively affordable price like this. Well, now the company is back with an upgraded version of the O5, which they're calling the O5 Plus, and aesthetically there's nothing that's really changed. What has changed, however, is they've changed from using a Realtek based Bluetooth 5.0 chip, which previously only supported AAC and SBC for the audio codecs, to now the latest Qualcomm chipset. So now there's support for aptX, which should further improve the audio quality in terms of providing even lower latency and perhaps higher quality transmission. Another consequence of switching to a Qualcomm chip versus the previous Realtek is now you're able to use it in the dual mode, which means as you're listening to music, you can pop either the left or the right one back into the case and only use one, perhaps if you're making a phone call. That's compared to before, where we had a master and a slave, which caused more latency and also meant if you popped one side into the case, the entire thing would turn off, and there's no way to switch into a mono playback mode. Otherwise, they're still IP67 rated, so they are waterproof and dustproof. Presentation is exactly the same as before. Only difference now is it says O5 Plus. On the top here, we have access to a quick user manual. Again, a very deluxe presentation for a fairly affordable pair of earbuds. Here we have some additional silicone tips for adjusting the fit, in addition to a charging cable. Now it is using still the older micro USB port for charging. In my opinion, this is a slightly missed opportunity. I would have liked to see, because they're kind of refreshing this model, they might as well have upgraded to USB Type-C. Everything external and the aesthetics remains exactly the same. Taking a closer look at the design of the battery case here, now we do see the addition of a plus compared to before, where we can see that there is no plus logo printed onto the aluminum. So that's how you can tell the difference inside. Different chips being used. Again, the exact same capacity for the battery, the exact same weight, still is made completely out of a solid chunk of aluminum, making it feel super premium and luxurious. Makes the Apple AirPods, which are made entirely out of plastic, and Redmi AirDots just feel like toys in comparison. Now the door here is magnetic, although it's a little bit difficult to open up because you have to apply a little bit of force, sometimes with your fingernails, but it opens and closes with a satisfying click. We get these delicate chamfered edges which glow and reflect against the light, the logo which is make it fully optimal again, and the hinge here which kind of juts out at a tilted angle. Closer look at the earbuds again, the design language again matches the case, very futuristic and sleek looking. LED indication light on the very top, and towards the base is a microphone that's also pointing a little closer towards your mouth for picking up your voice for phone calls. Now just like before, it looks like metal just like the case, but the earbuds themselves are actually constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic, which is a good choice because it allows them to be very lightweight, and you want them to be in order to remain comfortable. The back here is still constructed out of a soft touch rubber material, which makes them nice and grippy and prevents them from falling out very easily. Now just like before though, it retains the same layout for the controls, and these are extremely small buttons. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, but you are able to do things like adjust the volume, which is a function that not many pairs of wireless earbuds have. Although in the future, I think maybe using just one touch sensitive key would be more intuitive, and you can just tap on it multiple times to do things like changing volume and skipping tracks, as opposed to putting these tiny physical buttons, and when you press down on them, it exerts a little bit more pressure into your ears. The transparency mode basically uses the microphone to amplify the sounds around you to make things easier to hear. You can think of it as reverse active noise cancellation. So say you're in the office and a colleague wants to talk to you, but you don't want to necessarily pull these out of your ears and put them back in every single time. You can simply enter the transparency mode and be able to hear all the conversations and talk back. Moving into the audio quality and performance, again, there's not too many surprises there. There is a good amount of bass that you feel the punch and the kick when listening to drum beats and EDM tracks, but it's also very dynamic and gives you a nice, pleasant mix of mids and highs. It gets pleasantly loud. There's very little distortion, so you can't really hear any hints of hiss or hum in the background. Just extremely extremely clean, and indeed, the latency is ever so slightly improved. Again, there's no real problems even for watching videos. For example, if you're on YouTube, you can play and pause the track, and the audio and video are synced together really well. Battery life, indeed, we got around 6 to 7 hours before they needed to be recharged in the case, so indeed it is one of the longest battery lives that you'll find. Combined total of around 100 hours or so, remains unchanged, even though they use a different chip, which is nice to see. So that's more or less it for our hands-on review of the slightly upgraded MiFo O5 Plus. Again, in terms of design, battery capacity, and even the 6mm dynamic drivers, it all remains exactly the same, which is fine because the O5's, even the regular version, was one of my favorite values at this price point when it came to the quality of both the build as well as the sound, just being super solid, really clean, connection had no problems at all, and just being a very dynamic overall experience. They also look much more expensive than the price would suggest. Again, the upgraded Plus edition just basically upgrades the chipset now to a Qualcomm one. Points of possible improvement, I would have liked to see them be a bit more aggressive with changes, since they are coming out with kind of a new manufactured version anyways, such as, again, putting in a new Type-C port would have been really nice, in addition to maybe overhauling some of the controls, but again, retaining the same price, which is already very exciting to see. So if you're in the market for one of the best pairs of TWS wireless earbuds in terms of sound, performance, build, and battery life, these should definitely be on the top of your list, and be sure to check out more details in the links down below. But for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews. That's been the MiFo O5 Plus.